Welcome to another episode of Freshman Podcast. It's your boy Josh, on Jay Fresh. To my right, we have Yas on Yeski. Today, guys, we're talking about the Lake Show. That's right, the Los Angeles Lakers. We're going to give you guys a season preview for the upcoming season. Let's kick it off with some of the off-season additions. Um, we got to start with my boy Russell Westbrook. Also, Carmelo Anthony, Trevor Ariza, Kent Bazemore, Wayne Ellington, DeAndre Jordan, Dwight Howard, Malik Monk, Kendrick Nunn, and Rajon Rondo. A completely remodeled Los Angeles Lakers roster besides, your staples LeBron and AD and some other guys. Um, so, there's been a lot of talk this offseason about, the Lakers are too old. How are they going to fit together? You got not Rondo. You have Russell who's ball dominant, LeBron who's ball dominant, Anthony Davis, and all of this. What's your take on these guys fitting together?
Well, for one, they make millions and they pay millions to keep their bodies in shape. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, granted, wear and tear, being old and stuff like that, I get it, but for the most part, they're pretty good on that. As far as fitting go, uh, I feel like everybody would be fine because Rondo's played with them already and won a ring with them. Depending on what Melo goes, like if you're gonna bring him off, I'm pretty sure they're gonna bring him off the bench, possibly. He'll be fine. It's just really, it's like the whole Russ thing with me. Is Russ gonna be off the ball? Is LeBron gonna be off the ball? Like how are we gonna, like, is LeBron just gonna lay back and chill? Like, not saying chill, but we don't need you to be LeBron. Like, you don't have to initiate the offense. You don't have to score. Like, you can kind of just free roam. Maybe run off a couple streams, play in the post. Like, we don't need you to initiate the offense because we have Russ. Because it's like, if you out, I'm not gonna. Russ is not the best player with just standing in the corner. And LeBron is normally around players where he has the ball 90% of the time. Everybody else just either it's a pick and roll, we got men in the corner so he can kick it and shoot. And like Russ is not effective with the whole, all right, I'm gonna stand in the corner and wait for you to give me the ball. Like, Russ needs to be fast break, going downhill, you know, pick and roll type situations. Like, is LeBron this year finally going to be like, okay, I'm going to be the man on the outside, and, I'm going to let my point guard initiate the offense, you know, and do his thing just like the way he did with Rondo. When Rondo was with them and playing, we seen majority of the time Rondo had the ball in his hand and initiating the offense. He might stand up top for a while or whatever, but that's my only issue with that. Everybody else is pretty much like, you're gonna know their role. Like, 3 and D, like, that's basically all they got. Like, it's just figuring out, hey, can LeBron and Westbrook coexist? I feel like Westbrook and AD that's perfectly fine, but it's just how we gonna play LeBron and Westbrook at the same time. Like,
Yeah. My rebuttal to that is you kind of touched on it. It's been a knock saying how can you play with LeBron and Russ, and they both aren't the best 3-point shooters, but you touched on it. They played with Rondo and LeBron, and they won a championship. Now, granted, Rondo had a phenomenal shooting outbreak in a bubble, like knocking down threes and all that. It was crazy. But still, if they made that work, I think he can make it work with Russ, and I think that Russ is a 10 times better athlete than Rondo. I think Rondo's for sure a better passer and, probably facilitator, but, like, I think they can make it work. And like you touched on with AD, I think that'll be like uh, Russ and Clint Capella 2.0, or Russ and Steven Adams. AD's going to get lobs. Uh, stuff like that, easy buckets. Because when Russ gets in the lane, that help is coming, and he's more than capable to dump it off to the big or the trailer. So I think that's going to be a positive. And when LeBron getting up in age, I think at times they're going to let him kind of sit back and let Russ and AD kind of carry the load at certain nights, you know. Because I think last season LeBron, he averaged close to the most minutes, I think. But it was up there. At this age, you should be trying to have him kind of, not so much on a minutes restriction, but have him playing less minutes than like he's typically played throughout his career. Um, Him and Anthony Davis both kind of broke down during the playoffs, so I think you will see nights where Russ might be out too. All three of those guys may sit out and let some of the, I can't say younger guys, but the other guys play because there's not too much youth on this team. But we even touched on it in another podcast. Everyone, they're knocking the Lakers that they're too old. You don't see too many quote unquote young teams win championships. You may have a sprinkle of younger guys in the mix, but majority of these teams that win championships, they're kind of veteran led teams. We seen when the Warriors kind of went on their run, it was nothing but veterans. You had AD off the bench, Sean Livingston off the bench, stuff like that. It wasn't like a rookie was coming in and helping them win a championship. Even with Cleveland, you had, I'm trying to think who was coming off the bench. You had like Richard Jefferson coming off the bench. Obviously, you had LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love as your starters, but I can't think of too many teams that have got to the finals. Well, I'll say last season. But even then, with the Suns, they were led by Chris Paul and Devin Booker. So you kind of had a mix of youth, but even then, you had veterans on that team. Jay Crowder. So you had a healthy mix. But for the most part, these teams that win a championship, they're veteran-led teams. The Bucks, they had veterans. You had Giannis, you had Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton. All those guys have been in the league 5 to 6 years, so they've been around. Brook Lopez, I don't know how long he's been in the league. He's been around. At one point, he was the man on Brooklyn.
Yeah. It's been a while.
So, yeah. Now, as far as seeding, I'll start this off. As far as my prediction, I see them top 4, possibly the number 1 seed. I think if the Suns went on a pretty good run last season, but I don't see them kind of getting back to where they were last year. They may still be a top 4 seed, but as far as them going to the finals, I don't see it happening. The Clippers are kind of out the mix right now due to Kawhi's injury, so I don't see them being a top 4. Denver may actually be substantially better with hopefully Jamal Murray will be back. Utah maybe, but yeah, I don't see too many teams really giving them too many issues. So I have them as the number 1 seed in the West.
1. I don't really see nobody else like there. I mean, Utah had an amazing season last year. The Nuggets. My question with that is, they all had disappointments in the playoffs the last couple years.
You saying the Lakers or the Nuggets?
No, the Nuggets and Utah. They
okay.
had disappointments in the playoffs when everybody was thinking, hey, this is finals chance, conference finals. So now my thing looking into the season is, all right, do we still have that motivation that we're that team, that we could be a number 1 seed, or that we are that team? And it's like, the Lakers, especially with LeBron on the team, it's like, all right, yeah, we're number 1. So it's like I don't really see anybody else like challenging that. Like they're the juggernaut in my opinion.
Yeah.
So.
I think if no one gets hurt, I got the number 1 seed for sure. Now let's jump to possible players/team accolades for the upcoming season. I say you got 3 All-Stars. You got Russ, you got AD, you got LeBron. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of guards in the West, since Russell is back in the West now. But I don't really see no other guards. So yeah, you gonna have 3. potential all-stars right there. Melo, if you bring him off the bench, of course, definitely. Six-man talk.
I don't know.
Could be.
But I mean, we didn't get that buzz in Portland. Well, in Portland, I guess he became a starter, but still, like it wasn't that type of buzz in
That's
Portland
true.
either.
I mean, but he did. Like I said, debatable because it was like he started. I want to say half of the season, and then the other half it was coming off the bench. So it's kind of debatable, but LeBron in the MVP race. Everybody's saying AD, like for MVP, like he's gonna just have this
Yeah.
super season. I mean, it's cool, but I still see LeBron would be the favorite
Yeah,
as far as MVP
I would say
goes.
LeBron possibly for MVP, but I think they have to be not only the number one seed in the West, but in the NBA for that to happen. Because the team, I feel like the team just has so much. Even though they say it's a bad fit, you got 80 and Russ on your team, so it's kind of like your stats or whatnot may take a dip from each other because you're gonna have to sacrifice. As we've seen in Brooklyn, you gotta sacrifice. You want to make it work. So that's the way I look at it. Not too sure about AD as far as MVP, but I think for all of y'all that was talking crazy about AD, saying he's soft, this, that, and the third, I think he's going to make a run for the Defensive Player of the Year. I think we're going to see him back out there blocking shots and stuff like that. So I have him for possible Defensive Player of the Year talks. So, but I don't have anybody on their team for six-man. I don't have them for Rookie of the Year, nothing like that. 3 All-Stars, LeBron possible MVP, AD possible Defensive Player of the Year. That's where I'm at for player/team accolades. Now let's move on to the season expectations, and possible outcomes for the season. I personally think for the Lakers organization it's championship or bust. But I got them losing to the Nets in the finals. But I got them running through the West. Like you said, Juggernaut, I don't see anybody coming close. Unless somebody's hurt, as we saw last season, and the Suns went on their run. That's what you're supposed to do, though. When somebody's hurt, it's part of the game. Take advantage of that. The Suns took full advantage. They had a nice, clean ride to the NBA Finals. So, without any injuries, I got them running through the West. Not even close.
Yes, I don't.
But I throw one little caveat in there. I have them possibly having a 7-game series with the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. Shout out to that boy Klay Thompson.
Yeah, I guess if the Warriors stay healthy, then yeah, that would be that only team that could even thinking about taking them down. Other than that, I don't see anybody else.
And I think low-key Steph won for revenge for that little play-in game. He might come for the Lakers, and he might come for the Grizzlies. I think those would be games to kind of watch to see if Steph goes off in. Not saying the playoffs, but in general, when they play during the regular season. I think he's going to remember those play-in games. So,
Yeah,
we're going to look out for that.
That's championship or bust. I don't see them losing really to anybody in the West as far as that go. It seems like every team in the West, like that you would think that was supposed to come out, like your Utahs and the Jazz, and you got the Clippers. I heard like it just seems like they just don't know how to win series or close games, and it's like you have LeBron championship experience, Rondo, AD, Westbrook has been to the finals too. It's like, you got multiple people on one team that has won championships or been there. So the rest of them don't really fill in. That's why I said the Warriors would be the only one because they have that experience. But of course, I got them losing to the Bucks.
Oh my God.
Duh. Giannis.
Not the
I
Bucks.
got them losing to the Bucks. of
The
course.
Bucks.
7-game series, baby. Losing
Alright.
to the Bucks. You know, LeBron versus
All
Giannis.
I'm gonna say is we got Nets champions 2021-2022 season. LA Lakers NBA champions 2022-2023 season. That's all I gotta say.
You going against your team?
None of this Bucks talk.
You going against your team?
We got it this year, and Russ and LeBron are gonna get it next year. I respect it.
It's all right. I'm sticking with Milwaukee regardless of what I see, what I hear. Doesn't matter. We got to stick it out. We got to ride it through. You know what I'm saying? Through thin and thin.
He is the biggest Bucks fan, but he doesn't talk about how he was a Suns fan. But all right, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Freshman Podcast. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. We're going to be flooding your timeline with more team season upcoming previews, so be on the lookout for that. And we're out.